Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my Virginia Tech football predictions for the 2020 college football season. Before I continue, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe to your channel. Really appreciate if you do that. I really am trying to grow this channel. I do have a subscriber goal of 500 subscribers, which I'd love to hit by August 29th. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you do to the channel, you will not regret it. So today we're doing Virginia Tech football predictions. Last year, this team kind of rode a very good second half after a pretty disappointing first half of the season. But then they turned around, lost to Virginia for the first time in 15 years, and then lost to Kentucky. And they're hoping to get to probably to a better bowl game than the Belk Bowl this year. We'll see if they could do that. So let's jump into this with things I like. I do like the offense. I do think the offense does take a step forward this year with Hendon Hooker as a quarterback. Um, Basically, I really like some things I saw from him last year. I think he's going to grow, and I think this offense is going to be a bit better than what it was last year. So that's the one thing I like about Virginia Tech, the offense. Things I don't like, the defense. This defense was wildly inconsistent. New defensive coordinator since his name escapes me. Bud Foster. Since Bud Foster has retired. I mean, that defense was inconsistent. They gave up 45 to Duke, and then they turned around and pitched two shutouts against Pitt and Georgia Tech. And then they gave up 39 and then 36 or 37, I want to say, to Virginia and Kentucky, who had very similar offenses last year, one-man shows. So that defense, I thought, was very inconsistent. If anything, with a new defensive coordinator, I think they take a bit of a step back. And then Justin Fournette. Listen, I made my mind up about Justin Fournette last year. This guy is basically just good enough to keep you treading water. That's all he is to me. I mean, he'll be pretty good at a Group of 5 school or a very low Power 5 school. But at a school like Virginia Tech, where they expect to compete for ACC championships, or at least I like to think they do, because they're one of the better football schools in the ACC. He's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. I think he will be out of a job, at least at Virginia Tech, within the next 2-3 years, because I think Virginia Tech fans are going to start seeing what I'm seeing. He's just good enough to keep you treading water. So that's my opinion about him, and I basically don't like him being your head coach. Your three toughest games: Penn State, North Carolina, and Pittsburgh. Penn State, top 10 school. You do get them at home, but that is going to be probably the toughest game of the year. North Carolina, a lot of hype around them. I'm kind of high on them, so I picked them as your second toughest game. And I went with Pittsburgh over Louisville. It was between those two teams because it's on a Friday night on the road. I'm always leery about road teams on a Friday night. Three easiest games: North Alabama, Georgia Tech, and Middle Tennessee. I couldn't fit the whole word Tennessee on the screen. North Alabama, I actually never heard of them before, so that should be interesting. Georgia Tech and Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee had this point year last year. I think they'll bounce back some. Georgia Tech, we all know they're rebuilding. Battle of the Techs, kind of a rivalry game. And by the way, speaking about three easiest games, you better beat them convincingly if you're a Virginia Tech. You've been having a problem with that the past 2 years. That's another reason why I don't like Justin Fournette, because you guys can't beat teams like Old Dominion at all, really. I mean, you go into Old Dominion and lose to them, and then you can't really beat them convincingly at home. You have trouble against teams like Foreman, so it's difficult with Justin Fournette. I just don't think he's a good head coach. But nevertheless, best worst case scenario right here. Your best case scenario is 10-2. I think you guys could go 10-2. I mean, granted, I think the Penn State game, the North Carolina game, the at Louisville and at Pitt game is going to be tough. But I think you guys can go 10-2, maybe split those. Worst case scenario, 5-7. As I said, you guys have trouble beating schools that you should be blowing out. So, I mean, for instance, Liberty. Liberty has Hugh Freeze as their head coach. You have someone that knows what they're doing. North Alabama, I think you'll beat them. But at Middle Tennessee, will you go on the road and lose at Middle Tennessee? I mean, you lost to a terrible Old Dominion team. What makes me not think that that's possible? So worst case scenario is 5-7, missing out on a bowl game. So here's the schedule right here in front of you guys. I'll go through each game. Don't hold me to the game by game predictions. Just hold me to the record at the end. So let's start off with that Week 1 game against Liberty at home. As I said, Liberty has Hugh Freeze as our head coach. Hugh Freeze, in my opinion, is probably going to be getting a Power 5 job at some point. Again, we'll see what happens. But this game's at home. You guys are better than Liberty. I gave you guys the win. I think this game's going to be somewhat competitive, though, because Virginia Tech plays their competition, and it probably will be end up being a pretty competitive game. But I'm going to say just somewhat competitive because, I mean, you guys are a lot better than Liberty. I mean, you guys should be beating Liberty by at least 3 touchdowns, but I gave you all the win. Next game, Penn State. If you already saw the Penn State football prediction video, you already know who I have. I actually went back and forth some on this game. I think Virginia Tech definitely have a shot at home against Penn State, but I gave it to Penn State. The reason why I gave it to Penn State is because they're just flat out the better team. I think give them everything they can handle, but at the end, I see Penn State winning this game by a touchdown. So go ahead, give me the Nittany Lions over the Hokies, and Virginia Tech goes ahead and loses their first game of the year. Next game at Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee, listen, I thought they were kind of disappointing last year. I expected a bit more out of them last year. I think they'll bounce back some this year. You're on the road in this one. Last time we were on the road against a Group of 5 school, we all know what happened. And you guys lost to Old Dominion, so I actually went a bit back and forth in this one. And I went ahead and gave it to you guys, but I do think this game could maybe be a bit competitive, at least in the first half. But overall, I think you guys go ahead and win this one. You guys are a lot better than Middle Tennessee. I expect you to win this game. Next game, North Alabama. I've never heard of North Alabama before, but overall, I do think you beat them as an FCS school. I expect you guys to go ahead and beat them. Next game, Georgia Tech at home. Battle of the Techs. Georgia Tech, as I said, they're rebuilding. You guys pitched a shutout on the road last year against them. I think they do score some points on you this year, but you guys will still win this game by at least 3 possessions. Go ahead, give me Georgia Tech. Not to give me Georgia Tech. Give me Virginia Tech to go ahead and beat Georgia Tech there at home. Next game at North Carolina. If you saw the North Carolina football prediction video, you already know who I have. North Carolina, I think this game might be whoever wins this game might win the ACC Coastal, even though don't count out Miami and Pitt. But overall, and don't count out Virginia either. I think Virginia has a shot as well. And a lot of people aren't giving them a shot, but I actually do think they have a shot. But North Carolina, in my opinion, I think they're a top 25 team. I'm not so sure about Virginia Tech. The game being in Tar Heel land, last year this game was an absolute classic, 6 overtimes. Virginia Tech came out on top. Probably a big-time win for them. Probably saved their season, honestly. This year, the game's in Chapel Hill. I gave it to North Carolina. I just think they're the better team. The game's in Chapel Hill, and that's another reason why. I do think this is a one-possession game, but at the end, I just think North Carolina is a bit better than Virginia Tech. I'm going to go ahead and give it to North Carolina. If this game was in Blacksburg, I will probably give it to Virginia Tech. But since it's in Chapel Hill, give me the Tar Heels. Then you get your bye week. Your bye week comes after North Carolina. A pretty good spot for a bye week. Maybe you won it before that Louisville game, but pretty good spot. Coming off the bye week, Boston College at home. I am not high on Boston College at all. They're in a big rebuilding phase, I think. And I think, especially with the game at home, I think you guys get a win here. Maybe somewhat competitive, but I actually think maybe you guys actually blow them out some. So we'll see what happens, but I do think at the end you guys get the win over Boston College. Next game at Louisville. If you saw the Louisville football prediction video, you already know who I have. I think Louisville is a very underrated team. I think they're the second best coach team in the ACC behind Clemson. I also think that I think they could be favored in 10 out of 12 games. And this is one of the games I think they'll be favored in. I went back and forth. I gave it to Louisville because of the home team. I think both of these teams are pretty much even. I just think at the end of the day, Louisville's coaching will be the difference. And with them being at home, I think Louisville comes away with the win. I think it's a one-possession game, but go ahead, give me the Cardinals over the Hokies. Next game, at Pitt. Last year, you guys pitched, I think, a 28-0 shutout against Pitt, I believe the score was. And then you guys pitched a shutout. Um, this year, it's a Friday night game, by the way. It's a Friday night game. By the way, the Boston College game is a Thursday night game. I forgot to mention that. But the Pitt game is a Friday night game. It's on the road. I'm always a bit leery about picking road teams on weeknight games. I don't believe that Power 5 schools should be playing weeknight games, honestly. I think Pitt is going to be better than what they were last year. I really do. Last year, Pitt was 6-6. I can see Pitt easily being maybe 8-4, even 9-3. Honestly, I think they are going to be much better than what they were last year. Pat Narduzzi had the chance to go to Michigan State, but he stayed at Pitt because he knows his Pitt team is pretty good. Offensively, they're going to be pretty good. Defensively, I think they take a step forward. Pitt, the game's at home for Pitt. I'm going to go ahead and give Virginia Tech the loss. I just think Pitt is maybe a bit better than you guys at home. So go ahead, give me Pitt over Virginia Tech. And I think this game, if this game was in Blacksburg, I would probably give it to Virginia Tech. But since it's in Pittsburgh, go ahead and give me Pitt. 3 more games. Next game, Miami at home. Miami is a team that I think is going to be approved this year as well. They bring in De'Aaron King as quarterback. They have a new OC. Man Diaz has to, I think, prove himself a little bit this year. I mean, last year, Miami lost to 2 Conference USA teams, one of them being a shutout. That's pretty embarrassing. Not gonna lie. But this year, the game's in Virginia Tech. Last year, you guys went down there and beat them 42-35. I think you guys were up 28-0 at one point in that game, but you kind of let Miami back into it. I think this game's going to be a very competitive game, maybe even a bit of a shootout. But at the end, with the game being in Blacksburg, I gave it to Virginia Tech. They're coming off 2 losses. They're going to be a bit desperate for a win at 5-4. So go ahead and give me Virginia Tech for that win, and that makes them bowl eligible with that Miami win because then they're 6-4. Next game at Duke. Duke, I don't know exactly what to think of Duke. I think they have a good head coach in David Cutcliffe, but I don't think at the same time they really have the talent to go up against many teams in the ACC. They're pretty well coached. The better coach in West Virginia, and then Virginia Tech. I call them West Virginia. The better coach than Virginia Tech. Overall, I do think that this game is going to be a very competitive game. But with the game being in Duke and Durham, I gave the game to Duke. Probably a bit of an upset. I mean, granted, every year a team wins a game they're supposed to win, every year a team wins a game that they're not supposed to win, and loses a game that they're not supposed to lose. And I think this is the game they're not really supposed to lose that they end up losing. So go ahead, give me Duke in the upset against Virginia Tech. I do think Virginia Tech will be favored going into this game, but I'm gonna go ahead and roll with the upset. I just have a gut feeling. Last year Duke beat you 45-10 in your building as well. So this team beat you by five touchdowns last year. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go ahead and go with the Duke Blue Devils over the Hokies. And then the final game, Virginia at home. Listen, Virginia last year, they beat you guys for the first time in 15 years. It's an in-state rivalry game. No, they get Bryce Perkins graduate. He's not there anymore. The Virginia fan will tell you that the running game is going to be approved, but they're going to have to rely heavily on that defense, Virginia, this year. The game is in Blacksburg. It's actually a Saturday game. Usually it's a Friday game. I actually enjoy watching this game on Fridays after Thanksgiving, but this year we'll see. I went back and forth for this one. I gave it to Virginia Tech because it's at home and the revenge factor, but I could very well see Virginia going in there and beating you guys. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and say you guys go ahead and beat Virginia because of that revenge factor. So if you count up all the wins and losses, I have Virginia Tech going 7-5 with a 4-4 conference record. 7-5 with a 4-4 conference record. If you watch the North Carolina prediction video, you already know that I have North Carolina ahead of Virginia Tech. So that means I think that North Carolina is probably going to win the ACC Coastal. We'll see where I have Miami and Pitt at, and Virginia. I think those 3 schools definitely have a shot at it, but you never know. But overall, I do think that Virginia Tech. I just don't really think they. I just don't think. I don't trust Justin Fournette. That's what it comes down to. Um, I personally believe that he's going to get let go within the next 2 to 3 years. I really do. I just don't think he's really a good head coach. I mean, he might be good at a group of five school, but at a school like Virginia Tech, I just don't think he's really that good. But anyways, comment down below. Tell me what you think about the Virginia Tech Hokies. I always like hearing from y'all. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel. McD the Beast signing off.